Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Andy's Shed Live. This is Series 17, episode number 3 for Sunday the 13th of April 2025. Hello there, how are you? Welcome aboard for another Sunday evening. We'll be with you for about an hour or so. And there are plenty of people in the YouTube chat already. If you've not joined it and you are watching on YouTube, then why not? Join in the chat there. There are people there already, it would seem. Who have we got? We've got Dominic there. He says he went down to the Ecclesbourne Valley Railway and rode on a 1956 Bedford bus to Peak Rail in Matlock. Oh, right. And he says bus driver was quite ill on steep hills around Cromford with drum brakes and only partial synchromesh. Ah, well, remember they all used to be like that. So yeah, I had no choice. You know, that's what all buses were like. Christopher's with us. Hi, Christopher. Wesley's here as well. Hi, Wesley. And Gambo is with us. Says, hey, troops, made it this week. Yeah, had planned in refelting the roof, but had hail earlier in the day. Neville says, hi Andy, the Kettle buildings on Paternoster Row in Sheffield are going to be empty, and a lot of suggestions are that it should be a museum. You could propose a telephone museum. Yeah, the trouble, yeah, I wouldn't want a museum there. I wouldn't want anything in Sheffield city centre. I won't ever be going to Sheffield city centre again. The Kettle that's what used to be the centre for popular music, isn't it? And that lasted all of 10 minutes. Another thing they spent a load of money on and couldn't maintain. Again, it's a classic thing. Massive grant for something, get a massive grant, oh yeah, we're going to do this, that and the other, and the grant money runs out from the initial grant, then they find they can't continue to fund it and it ends up shutting down. Yeah, I used to be at Sheffield Live Radio, it was just across the road from there. You could see that building out the window, and I always said it would make a good start to that building if they actually washed it. Because it was really, really grotty, those sort of kettle things on the top. It's supposed to be a kettle drum or something, isn't it? I don't know how they made it out to be a kettle drum. Looks nothing like a kettle drum to me. But yeah, no, I wouldn't do anything with Sheffield city centre, nor with most of our city centres, because of these stupid low emission zones that they put in. Where if you can't take your car into a city centre and park it where you want to go, then my policy is don't go to that city centre anymore. That's why I've not been to London for 5 or 6 years now. That's why I won't go into the centre of Bradford. That's why I won't go into the centre of Sheffield now. Even if I'm driving a vehicle that is compliant with the zone, I still won't go through it as a matter of principle. And I urge other people not to as well. Let all the businesses fail that are in those low emission zones. Let them all fail, let them all shut down, let the council not get any more rates or any more tax from anybody in that zone, and yeah, I have a feeling they might change their mind when that starts to happen. Let me get some lights on so the lighting's a bit better. That's a bit better, you can see me now, it's not quite so swampy on one side. So yeah, it won't work as a museum. I wouldn't trust Sheffield City Council to run a bath, let alone to run a museum. Yeah, just wouldn't trust them in the slightest. They are the most incompetent bunch of muppets I have ever come across in my life. Yeah. Neville says, totally agree. And that stupid Dutch roundabout they have introduced, don't even go there, Neville. Don't. If you're not a person that's ever been to Sheffield and you've not been following the thing, they've spent millions, and it is literally millions, on building a roundabout with flower beds in it in the middle of Sheffield. And it is just totally nonsensical. Totally nonsensical. They don't call them Sheffield Shitty Clownsel for nothing. Yeah. I think we should change the name on the side of all their vans. I think we should get some magnetic things done that say Sheffield Shitty Clownsel on them, and go in the dead of night to all the vans and plaster it over the top of the names on all the vans. They wouldn't notice. They wouldn't notice. Can't read, can they? So they wouldn't notice. Dominic said, didn't you get ripped off parking in Sheffield City Centre? Once I did. I made a video about it, Dominic. Well, I didn't actually get ripped off because I spotted it. But basically, the clocks on the parking meters were an hour out. So if you thought you'd put enough money into a parking meter to be there for an hour, actually the hour was up at the moment you arrived. But I spotted it. I did spot it, and that's why I did a little short video about it. But yeah, I've had various run-ins with Sheffield City Council. The big one that unfortunately wasn't on video, I wish it had been, was with the old gas lamp posts. They had a company, they contracted a company to do a program called Streets Ahead that were going to refurbish all the streets in Sheffield, and one thing that they did was they took out all the remaining cast iron Victorian lampposts and put in new lampposts. And I said, where are these Victorian lampposts going? And nobody could tell me where they were going or what was happening to them. And I tracked them down, and I found they were going into a dodgy salvage yard. Yeah. And I went to try and buy one, and they wouldn't sell me one. Because they said, oh, we've got a salvage guy who buys all of them. And this salvage guy happened to have a yard over the back fence of the Sheffield depot where all the lampposts were going. So they were going into a council depot and then going over a back fence into a salvage yard, I believe. And then that salvage yard guy was selling those lampposts on then to the general public for about £300 each, and he was paying 50 quid a lamppost for them. And that's why they ripped them all out, because they got 50 quid for everyone they ripped out. But did the people of Sheffield see any of that money back? What do you think? Neville says, Sheffield City Council, why do people keep voting for them? They just completely waste taxpayers' money all the time. Why do people keep voting for Labour, full stop, Neville? It's because people, in general, are stupid. I had this conversation with somebody actually yesterday. Somebody said, but I said basically the same thing that you just said there, Nev, to me yesterday. They said, why do people keep voting for them? I said, well, it's because most people are stupid and they can't see beyond the end of their nose. They just think, oh, Keir Starmer giving me an extra £1 an hour in my minimum wage, so when I go and do my job that basically only an idiot would apply for, I now get £1 an hour more to put baked beans on the shelf in a supermarket than I got before when I put baked beans in the supermarket. So I now get £1 an hour more. But the trouble is, the idiot putting the baked beans on the shelf in the supermarket doesn't realise that getting £1 an hour more means that they've sacked half a dozen staff entirely because they can't afford to employ them. And it also means that they have now gone over a tax threshold for the amount of money they're getting per week, and they're paying almost all of that pound back to the government in tax. And it's not £1 the government's given them, no, it's £1 their boss has been forced to give them. And if you want a list of businesses that have gone out of business in the last month, since the spring statement, I can tell you that a bus company, Hullies of Baslow, that's been running buses in the Peak District for well over 100 years. They started in 1915 with the Sharrowbank. They went out of business at the end of March. Bolsover Antique Centre, about a mile down the road here, that went out of business at the end of March, saying it couldn't afford to pay its staff anymore. Morrison's, next time you go into Morrison's, you'll probably find that the cafe and the meat counter and the fish counter are closed, because Morrison's are closing most of those because they can't afford to staff them anymore. Yeah. Neville says a lot of Labour voters vote for them because their dad did and their granddad did. They can't think for themselves. No, they can't think for themselves, Neville. And I'll tell you something else that happens as well. They get a lot of ethnic minority votes because what happens, or what happened, and I assume it still does happen, a friend of mine ran to be a councillor in Sheffield a few years ago. He didn't get on. He stood for the Green Party. Now I'm no great fan of the Green Party at all, but Calvin stood for the Green Party to be a councillor, but he didn't get on. But he did uncover a scam, and the scam that he uncovered was in the postal voting system. Because if you are a Pakistani bloke in Sheffield, a Pakistani Muslim living in Sheffield, you might have multiple wives, yeah? All of your multiple wives get a postal vote form, yeah? You can fill out the postal vote for your multiple wives and send them all back in. So one bloke might get 10 votes, and that's why there's a big, really out of place mosque in Sheffield that is in no way in keeping with the surrounding area at all, and it got planning permission sent straight through. And if you're in Sheffield, Nev, or anybody else in Sheffield, you'll know where it is. It's the big one down on the bottom as you go out towards Chesterfield there. Absolutely massive building. It dwarfs everything around it. It's not in keeping with the surrounding architecture at all. If you had applied for planning permission to build a factory or something there of that size, in that style and that colour, it would have been turned down flat. But because Labour knew they got all their votes from the ethnic minority communities, it was passed. There, I'm not scared to say it. Yeah, somebody will now say you're racist. You're racist. So, Neville says, "Don't start me off with the City of Sanctuary rubbish. Totally ruined Sheffield." Yeah, it's absolutely barking. It is absolutely barking. Christopher says, "Hope you had a good weekend, Andy. I came down with a bad fever on Saturday, so I had to spend the night in hospital to have an IV drip to get rid of my fever. But I have to isolate at home now." Oh, crikey! What you got, Christopher? See, you went in on Saturday, so that's yesterday to us. Not quite sure how the time difference thing, but I never quite work it out. So you've done quite well to be on here, Christopher. You don't know these are archived, Christopher. So if you are feeling a bit off it, you can sort of go to sleep and watch this back later if you want to. Yeah, it doesn't sound very good though. I wonder if it was COVID what you've had. Yeah, get well soon. Right. Anyway, now I've had my rant, my daily rant it seems, about Sheffield City Council. there's the things they've done over there. I will tell you one thing about the council though. There was once a Labour councillor for Nether Edge who I upset so much that at an event in Nether Edge that she was supposed to be going to open, when she arrived in her big council car and saw me already there, she refused to get out of the car. People said, what had I done to her? When I told them what I'd done to her, they all said, well done. She told me not to call her an idiot. And I said, well, don't behave like one then. It says, Matt from Takemone had something similar recently, I gather. What, a run-in with Sheffield City Council or a viral infection? Thought he'd been quiet recently, Takemone. Mind you, he's got enough money, he can afford to be quiet. Yeah. Yeah, bet he's got internal ads now, hasn't he? Yeah. Yeah, I've not seen one of his videos for ages and ages and ages, actually. I don't know what's happened to him. Used to see him quite regular, but I don't know, they got a bit the samey, his videos did. Yeah. I also wrote to him once about some videotape machines. Never got back to me. Chris said, it's not COVID, I got a viral infection, so I stayed at home for 2 weeks. Is COVID not a viral infection? It's a virus, isn't it? COVID, it's a virus. Yeah. Right. Oh dear. Well, wish I could isolate for 2 weeks. God, imagine that 2 weeks off. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Right. Anyhow, get well soon, Christopher, and hope you're soon on the mend. I'm sure the trains of Australia will wait for you for a couple of weeks. All right, down to business. I've got a little bit of good news this week. A little bit, not much, just a little bit. Phone, it's now working. I had another tinker with this. You may remember I was messing with this on the show last week and we couldn't get it working. Found out what it was. It was dead simple. It was the hook switch. The hook switch, when the plunger went down on the hook switch, it wasn't making and breaking the contacts it should have been. So basically I had to bend the contacts a bit, so it did make and break, and now this is, I do believe, working. Shall we have a go at proving it? If I get that there like that, and we can plug this into something here like this. And now I lift that off the hook there. And I've got a dial tone. If I now one thing about this is the dial is slow on it at the minute, but if I go, there you go, it's ringing the other phone, and if I pick up the other phone and dial this phone, so I'm dialing on the other one now, this one should ring. Oh, hang on. There we go, that's it. It was me misdialed it before. There you go, see? It is now ringing. Hello? Yeah, working perfectly now, that. So, we've sussed it. There are a couple of things that I still need to do. I need to put in a 3.3 kilo ohm resistor, and I need to put the instructions back in, because traditionally the instructions are wedged under the circuit board in these phones, So I'm going to unplug it from the mains a minute, take the handset off the hook, tip it upside down, and take the base off one more time. Screw should be retained. So I can now flip that back over. Now the case, now I should be able to just flip that off, that's it. So the case is now off. Put that over here somewhere. Even down there somewhere. Right, so what I need to do, oh, that should be on there. I was probably taking the case off that's pulled that off. That's the green wire to the handset that should be on there. We will do that up again, like that. Original instructions. If you get one of these horseshoe phones, look under there, because that's where the schematics normally live, under there. So I will put them back, and then I need to take off this jumper here and replace it with a 3.3 kilo ohm resistor. So jumper there out. I can get it out of there. Then I'll bend up a put on there. Now, got to get this on here now. This will be the fiddly bit, because it always is. But you have to hook your resistor in there. Put that back on there. Put that down like there. And this one here at the other side. That one also has to hook in. Sorry, my fat fingers are in the way. Like that, and I'll just try it again. Make sure it's still working. Yep, I've still got a dial tone. Yeah, and it still rings another phone. And if I pretend it's on the hook and ring it from the other phone, yeah, that works as well. Okay, brilliant. So I can unplug that again, and I can now put the case back on. Which I have to say is not the most brilliant fit in the world. There, like that. Fiddle about to try and make this. What was that? To try and make this fit. It's really awkward, as all British telephone cases are. Doesn't go where you want it to go at all. The people in America have a very easy, I say this every time I take a case off a phone, American phones are so much easier, as I will prove in a few minutes, because I've got an American phone to look at next. And it's a type I've never took a case off before, this other one, but I bet you it comes off way easier and goes back on way easier than this one. So there we go. So there it is. Let's now plug it in one more time. So, yeah, that's fine. Do it the other way around. Yeah, that's fine too. So there we go. I think we can now call this horseshoe phone a winner. So, yeah, that one's done basically. Right. Cool. So that one is done. Right. What's everybody up to in the chat? What are folks all saying in the old chat there? Keith is with us. Hi, Keith. Gambo says, did you check my photos I sent you last week, Andy? I think I did, Gambo. I think I did. It's been a long time since last week. Yes, it was the black and red wall phone, wasn't it? Yes, I did check them. Yes, definitely did. Christopher says, I got this viral infection on my mum's birthday in Bendigo, Australia. Right. Had you been out partying with your mum? Had you caught it off somebody where you been out. Dominic says, I saw a couple of phones at Roseley South Station. One BR Brown Ambassador for sale at £25 and a post-mounted metal cased handset. Was that post-mounted metal cased handset just a handset, or had it got a dial underneath it? Because often, was it one of those silver boxes with the blue front on the box and you open it and there's a phone inside? So if you take the handset out, there's often a dial underneath it. And how much was that one? Because that one would be worth having. I've not got one of those. The BR Ambassador at £25, that's ridiculously expensive for one of those. That's 5 times what it ought to be honest. That Dominic says, that horseshoe almost sounds like a modern 500 bell. Yes, I think it may be related, but I'm not 100% certain. Dominic says, the post-mounted one was part of the railway, so not for sale. Oh damn, unlucky. Yeah, well they'll not get 25 quid for the other one. They think they can stamp a BR symbol onto a brown Ambassador and say it for 25 quid. Got nothing coming. Yeah, I mean, it will be a genuine BR one. They did have loads of them, but BR had many thousands of brown Ambassadors with a BR logo on. They're not rare in the slightest. There was somebody on eBay selling either 2 or 3 this last week together, and I didn't even put a bid on. So yes. Anyway, shall we move swiftly on to the next item on the list for today, which is, when I find out where I've put it, I'll be able to pick it up as well. Can't pick phones up with one hand because they're heavy. This, not quite sure what you call this. I've got the forerunner of this on the wall up here, which is related to a 500, but I'm not really sure what you call these. But it's a relatively modern. It looks like it's going to be DTMF. It's from Western Electric in America. And the problem is, somebody's cut its wire. So we need to get into this and see where that wire goes and see what's inside, because I have no idea what's inside one of these. Now, the way you get into these is you go in, I believe. This has got what they call a modular back on it. I'll take the handset off it for a minute and show you the modular back. This plate on the back here, this piece, is not original to the phone, I don't think. When America went over to what they call modular, which is their version of our plug and socket, they kind of put an extra back plate on your wall if you had a wall mounted phone, and that extra back plate, that was permanently attached to the wall. Then you plugged the phone into the back plate and hung the phone off it. Well, the back plate on this is still attached, as they often are, but the modular cable has gone. Now, the way you get into these, if I can find my pin, very similar to how you get into a contemporary, and that I think there's some design synergy with a contemporary. There's a thing here that has as normally has your number in, your phone number in. This is a little plastic cover, and it's got a hole at one end where you put a pin in, and then when you put a pin in that hole, you can bend the cover and it just flicks out like that. And with a bit of jiggery pokery, you can get the thing out like that. That reveals two big screws. Now I'm assuming those two big screws are going to lift the cover off this phone, because there's no other way that I can see of doing it. So let's have a go at these two big screws. That one feels like it's out. Is it retained? Yes. And that one feels like it's out. So now, you know, remember that difficult cover that we had on that horseshoe a minute ago? Pop, straight off. Because it's American. And Americans know how to design things. Right. And as you can see, there's quite a lot in there. But the cord that we are looking at is this here. I can pull it out, and it's got a blue, a red, a green and a white. Going different places. Now, on American phones, the line is normally, the surprises are all connected actually, because they're not normally. The line is normally your red and your green, so I am looking for the green to potentially be marked L1. These terminals are marked here, but the markings are not easy to read. Just look at this mess of wires. Oh, what's that fell out? Oh, a little bit of broken plastic from somewhere. That doesn't bode well, does it? What is that? What's that? Tone warbler, do we think? Something like that? Don't know what that is. Let's put it back. Don't mess with what you... Right now I'm now seeing that this is wobbly, because I'm seeing a missing screw that should be in there. You see that? You see? In that side there's a screw. In that side there is no screw. Now the question is that screw somewhere inside the phone? And a minute ago it went tink, didn't it, onto the desk, and I said, what's that? But where did it go? What was it and where did it go? We heard it go, didn't we? But we didn't see it go. And it sounded like it was a screw falling out. But was it? That is the question. Right, what I'm going to do here. See, here's the remains of a modular conversion for the curly cord that sort of fit on there like that. These little grey blocks for the modular, in fact I can take the handset off, you see, because they just unplug, hence modular. these little grey blocks are very prone to getting broken. Very prone to getting broken. And some kind soul, some time ago, did send me a few replacement ones. It's going back a couple of years now, so to the kind soul who sent me some replacement of these, thank you very much. Right, I'm looking on the desk if there's an errant screw gone anywhere, and I can't see one. So what I think I'm going to do with this is have a look under the modular backplate. So here is a thing that holds the the front to the modular backplate, and is there one at the bottom somewhere as well? Yeah, there's one in there. There it is. Right. So now that back plate lifts off, you see, and here is your original back plate, as best I can understand it, with belt system property, not for sale on it. So that is how you would have originally screwed it to the wall, you see. You would screw the foam straight onto the wall, not onto this back plate. It would have gone straight onto the wall, and it would have gone out the back. This wire would have gone out the back. So we need an American wire, probably. To put on, but what sort of phone is this? Has it got a number on it anywhere? 574 as an original date. 2554B. So let's see if we can find out what a 2554B is, shall we? Let's have a little look. Yeah, they come up. Unfortunately, it's all eBay stuff. TCI library, 2500 and 2554 type telephone sets reference. Right. And this is from www.telephonecollectors.info. It says general. This section contains information on the 2500 and 2554 type general purpose telephone. It says right. the reason for reissuing this section is to add the 2554 BMPA and Z2554 BMPGA telephone sets. Sets coded with the letter G are equipped with a polarity guard and 35 type dial or 72 type dial with built-in polarity guard. A feature that is recognisable to the use of 72 type dial is the feed, blah 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 blah. So it's a telephone 554, but it's a 2554. Housing colour available in black, ivory, moss green, red, pastel yellow, white, light beige and aqua. So do you think it's ivory? I'd say it's ivory. Or is it light beige? Who knows? Right, I'm looking here. So what we're looking for is a schematic. So I'm just looking through the schematics that I've got on here, see if I can find, and there are lots of them. Let me tell you, there are lots of them. I'm actually sitting here looking for 2554. So green goes to line 1. And yellow goes to line 2, so it's green and yellow. Apparently. Right, well we ain't got a yellow. So L2 is Y, S and Y. I know normally red and green are the lines, so let's see if these terminals are marked line 1 on here. If I take this green off, what's that marked? Three, by the looks of it. 1, 2, 3, 11, 10. Now they're marked on there, but then where do they go out of that block? That's the question. If I take these out and actually release the block off the phone, hopefully, I'm hoping then it'll give me some clue as to where things go. Because I think this is just a sort of terminal block, so you can terminate multiple things onto one block. So there's your L2 there, which doesn't appear to have anything connected to it, weirdly. And that is normally part of your line. This thing in here is what the Americans call a network. Well, let's assume it's going to... Let's just assume it works. Let's assume what they've given me here is correct. And I have got to go with these 4 wires now. What are the middle 2 going up this flat cord? And the middle 2 going up this flat cord are green and red, and it is the middle 2 that are normally your line in America. So you've often only got your middle 2 wires connected. Let's have a look, see if we can find another bit of paperwork or something for this phone. Let's have a little look. 255.4. Oh, found a forum post, not on our forum, on somebody else's. I have 4 ITT 2554s I got from different places, planning to rewire them assembly line style to get them working. I am having a problem as follows with the first one, which is the least mucked with one. After cleaning and rewiring, I cannot connect my ringer using its black and red leads to L1, L2 and still have the phone function properly, but it does with the ringer off. Right. There's nowhere near as much junk in the phone that I'm seeing on this picture as there is in here. So let's just have a little look at what we've got. At the end of this wire. So if I now look down the end of the wire here, hopefully down the end of this we can see some colours. If I see if this was long enough, I'd be able to hold it right up under that camera and hopefully then you'd see some colours. And can you, right, it's white on the edge, it looks like it's got green and blue in the middle and red on the other edge. Well, that wouldn't wire correct for an American phone. So green and blue are in the middle. I wonder if this has been messed with in the UK. Do wonder if this has been messed with, because there is a lot of wiring going places on this. Much of which is actually going up to the keypad, as you'd imagine. So but what's getting me is underneath this L1 isn't connected. It doesn't seem. So is this something doing messing about for modular, this extra board on the top here? It would appear that it probably is. There's a red and a blue that go down onto the original unit down here, the original network, which to me should go to L1 and L2, so I'm going to take this off again and have another look. Now we know it's green and blue that I think are the line colours on this cable, because it could be any old piece of cable, you see, this, couldn't it? So where do they go? Well, green goes up here, green comes out of it and goes there, and then doesn't appear to go anywhere from there. So that's just set on there to terminate it. As best I can see, white becomes yellow. Now it did mention yellow, didn't it? And yellow goes up into the phone. Now, in here, on what is marked L2, there is nothing on it, and I'm finding that suspicious in the extreme. But I'm now looking for L1. I mean, I would love to take all this apart and rewire this. What is in that box? I can't see which. See, I want a graphic image of this network, and I've, you know, just to show me all the thing. What did I say it was? It was a what? 2554B. Let me type this into this website. 2554B. Total set wiring. Right. And B for bridged ringing. Move black conductor from ringer from terminal G on network to terminal L1 on network. So red goes to L2. The incoming colours it shows here are green, yellow and red, and it says green goes to L1, red goes to L2, which is what I would expect. So what is all this nonsense? So what I want to do is find out what the network type is. That's not going to be easy. Is it 40100 net? The network? Right, that's what I'm looking for. I think it's that number in there. I think it's 40100. 401 4100 net. Right, so let's have a look for a network 4100. Let's see if we can find that, shall we? One. 41. And it tells me all about gigabit Ethernet. Net. See, they call it a network, and of course when you put something like network into Google, it really doesn't help. No, that doesn't help. That's not it, because network can have many different meanings, you see. So where do all these extra wires go? What do they all do? Because it's a right rat's nest in here, isn't it? I mean, for a start, look, there's a load of these. Let's unwind some of these. But for a start, there's all of these that just go all over the shop. Right. So there's red and green for your red and green for your handset, and white and black for your handset, and the red and green side of it, your handset goes to these here, and there's a red wire there that goes off somewhere as well. That wire there doesn't feel very clever, but this red, I think that's floating off is that one that goes floating right up inside the phone, then God knows where, under there. Right. Really nothing to go anywhere. Really not understanding how this has been wired in the past. If you were just to put a connector on the end of there, I do not think it would work. Because I think they would be in the wrong order. On the end of there. But I'm looking in here for L2. See, I found a H there, I found N, G, and there's just so many, such a rat's nest of wires, and my eyesight's so poor anyway. Right, L2 is there, so where's L1? Then that one's L2. R, A, what's that? There's an F there, G, something N, Right, I'm now thinking this is a UK cord, because it's got the red and the white on the outside, and that was how it will be wired UK. So I'm now thinking this is a UK cord that's been on it. So red disappears up in the phone, white goes on to there, which then turns yellow, and that disappears up in the phone. So I'm now thinking that if I wired something to the white there and the red, which God knows where it goes, where does that red go? Right, it's on there. It's just wrapped around that stupidly. Right, let's unwrap that for a start. Because it is stupidly wrapped around there. So Let's put that back where it was, which is on there. Then let's have a look at what we've got. So now on here, so if we're saying white and red, because they're on the outside, which is what they are on a British cord, and I'm thinking this is the British cord that's been put on. White goes there, which then goes to yellow and disappears up inside the phone, and the other one would be red, which goes there, which goes to a green and a black, which also go and disappear up inside the phone. Blue is your bell wire, which has gone straight down onto the network there, and green isn't attached to anything, which green is normally not attached to anything, is it? So if I've got a UK line code, I could put a UK line code on there and see if it works. Have I got one kicking around anywhere around here? And I bet the answer to that is no. There's an American code. Looking for a code now. Right, bear with us a minute. Right. Awful like I've just not got one just laying around handy. See, I'm always short of line cords. Always short of line cords. Get hundreds, I just use them like that. Gone. Always short of line cords. Always. Scratch that as well. See, my problem is I've got so much stuff and just no room to put anything. Absolutely no space at all. None. Zero. Right. But I have, in my hunting, found a cord which may or may not work, because it looks as if it's been taken out of something. So I wonder if that's a sus cord, that one. So that cord may be duff. And I've not got a multimeter to buzz it out and test it, because I just can't fit everything in this little tiny room that I'm in. Because if, well, I can't stretch my arms out in this room at all. Again, just I'd give my right arm for a proper workshop. I really would. I would literally saw my arm off for enough space to be able to work in. Right. So the white was on there. but I don't think this is going to work because I think this cord that I've got here is a dodgy one that I've not thrown away stupidly. So there's the white. And there's the red. Let's just try it. I need to get the handset back now, don't I? It's now got stuck in things. Put that in there. Have we got anything in the handset? Oh, I have. Right. Yeah, I have got a dial tone. Hey! Hey! It works. Right. Let's just prove that. I'm actually doing that on here. If I ring the other phone. There we go. Right, if I now hold that down and dial on the other phone, let's see if this rings, warbles or does something. It rings. Hello? I think we've cracked it. I do believe we've cracked it. So, let's undo it again a minute. Because the question I'm going to ask now is the blue for the old cord here. Right, the green, that's not on anything, so that can go, green. But where is the blue going? The blue's going now onto the network down here, onto that, whatever that is marked, and I just can't see it. My eyesight is shocking, absolutely shocking. F, I think it's an F. Right, so the blue is on that F there, so I can now loosen that. And whip that blue off there. So that bit of old cable is now gone. Right. So now if I put this blue on there, I think that's a fairly safe bet. But that should be on there. Like that. And then green, which is taped up on here, I can put this back on here because it's not wired to anything, that. I reckon that now should give me a working phone. So it's been a bit of a process of elimination, this one. Sorry I've not been interacting with the chat, but I've been having to use a bit of the old brain power on this. So I was thinking we got American line the remains of an American line cord on it, and we got the remains of a British line cord on it, which is what was causing the confusion. Right, so now I've got to find a way of getting this out now through the back of this telephone, and I think I can put it through there. And through the modular panel, which I'm going to actually put back on this particular phone. So if I can, I hope that's magnetic, that screw. Yes. Stick that there. This one, there is a hole somewhere down there for this one to go in. That one up on there, so I can that one up on there, there's this entire British cord now through the base plate like so. And guess what? The British grommet just gets in the way there. Right, so I've got to pull a bit of that back. Can I stuff that grommet in there? Yes, I probably can. That will kind of act as an accidental strain relief as well. That goes back on there. That clips back on there. Right, where's the top of this? It's here. So there's a couple of holes there. This top just sits straight on there. Hopefully like that. They screw down like so. Like that. And the handset goes on there. That goes on there. We'll take the end of this and plug it in again to my convenient extension, which I always do the wrong way up. There we go. Now, question is now, have I got a dial tone? And I have. 2, 3, and it rings the other phone. So I answer the other phone, blow down one and listen in the other. And it's working perfectly. And if I now do that and I pick up the black phone on the desk, dial 20, this should ring. There you go, with that famous American ring. So there you go, that is now working. So there you have it. We have now got another phone working. That's 2 I've mended this week now. That's good, isn't it? So we've got this one working, and all that remains to do is that dial label cover just needs to be fitted back on there for now. Like that. And there we have it. One American telephone for the use of. So I will wrap that cord around it for now. I don't normally recommend wrapping cords around like this, because you never know what the cord's going to do to the plastic in certain cases if it's left like it for a while. But we've done it. That phone is now working, which is excellent news, really. Very pleased with that. Get that mounted on the wall somewhere, and that's a DTMF phone as well, as you probably noticed. So that's quite a useful one. Right, I better get back to the chat that I've been terribly neglecting. The chat seems to have stopped. Right, that's odd. Maybe people are just engrossed in what I'm doing. Dominic says, gotta go. See you all next week. Oh, bye, Dominic. Right, cool. Right. The chat seems to have stopped at my end. Oh, still working, says Wesley. People must just be engrossed in what I was doing, Wesley. But yeah, so that is done. So we've got the horseshoe phone sorted out, the Siemens phone, or the AEG phone, depending on what point in history you want to talk about it. And we have got the Western Electric push-button wall phone working as well now. Always good when you can get an American one working. The challenge of getting an American one working in the UK, because there's not always a massive amount of information about them and how to set them up on the UK. But yeah, we've managed it. Anyway, that probably is about as far as we go for today. Christopher says, on his mum's birthday, him and his mum were riding a Heritage Melbourne train on the Bendigo tramway. Right. It's not where you caught whatever you caught, is it, Christopher? Gambo says, it's not on mines. I was hoping for an idea where the bulb attaches to the phone. Right, Gambo. Yes, your phone, you've got this weird phone with bulbs in it, haven't you? I don't think that's standard. I think somebody's put those bulbs in because they don't look in quite the right place to me. I'll come back to this on a future episode, probably next week. But those lights do not seem to be in quite the right place to me. So I think somebody's just drilled a hole in a normal case and stuck them in. So it does seem a bit strange. That does, Gambo, those lights. But what are those lights for as well? That's the question. And that, have they got line cords on, Gambo? So if they've got line cords on, how many cords are up the line cord? Is it 4 or is it 6? Or is it even more than that? Because if we know how many cords are up the cords, we might, and particularly if we know what colour they are, we might get some idea what those phones were connected to. Right, anyway, that I think is probably about as far as we are going to go for today, because it's been a very busy day today. one thing and another. But we will be back around about the same time, same place next week. Oh, hang on. Are we on next week? Are we on next Sunday? Right, it's Easter weekend next week, and I'm not sure if we're here next week or not. If we are, it will be at 7 o'clock again, but we might not be on. If we are not on next week, I'm fairly certain we're not on the week after that, because I'm at Stationary Engine Rally, so it will probably be the one after that when we are next back. So it's either next week or it's in 3 weeks time, depending. Yeah. And Gambo says, yeah, the bulb's not attached to the frame instead of that phone. It's got a lot of parts inside, but no line cord. Gambo says, it's Easter next week. Yeah, it is indeed. Yeah, happy Easter, Wesley. Yeah, right. Okie dokie. So we will be back either next week or in 3 weeks' time. Because I know the one after next week, I'm definitely away. So either next week or 3 weeks today, we'll be back. It's as clear as mud, isn't it, that? It is. It's absolutely as clear as mud. But if I don't speak to folks before, have a great Easter, whatever you happen to be doing. I am going to be boat building over the Easter weekend, boat refitting, canal boat refitting over the Easter weekend. That's what's down in my diary for that. That's why I'm thinking, are we going to be on next week or not? Will I be back from doing that on the Sunday evening? That is the question. So I'm not 100% certain. So we will see you very soon. Remember, click the subscribe thing if you've not done so already, and also click the bell icon, so when we do come on, you should then get a notification if you click the little belly thing on YouTube. It doesn't always work, and if you think you're subscribed, just double check, because YouTube does sneakily unsubscribe people without telling them. Yeah, something to do with so it doesn't have to pay me so much money, I think, which it hardly pays me any anyway, but that's another story. So yeah, thanks for everybody for taking part once again, and yeah, it's been quite a productive one today. We've got 2 phones fixed, and I've actually for the first time in ages got a fairly clear desk. Look at that. I've not had that much desk space in ages. It's mainly because I put most of the stuff on the floor, though. That's the reason for it. Right. I am going to be popping off shortly. Gambo says he might finally have his shed refitted. Wow. The what's it? The luxury of all that space, Gambo. The luxury of it. Yeah. Christopher says don't start about the V-line trains. I'm not even going to go there. I can't follow it. There's so much going on. But I will catch up with you all very, very soon. So for me, for now, have a very happy Easter, and we will catch you on the flip side in a couple of weeks' time. But remember, click the bell thing so you do know when we are next on. Okay, from me for now. See you soon, everybody. Bye.